Hey guys, it's the Budget Epicurean, and it's been about 2 weeks since I started my kombucha making adventure, so it's time to check in on the cultures and see how they're doing. I've left them in a nice, cool, dark place to sit and ferment and begin their SCOBY colony making. So if you're just checking in, this is the second part of a making my own kombucha video. I've never tried this before, so just kind of following some Google advice and seeing how it goes. So 2 weeks ago I brewed some fresh black tea and took some store-bought, raw, unfiltered organic kombucha and mixed them together to see if I could create my own SCOBY at home. And a SCOBY is what creates the kombucha. It's a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast, and they live together at the top of the kombucha between the liquid and the air, and they form this cellulose barrier on top of the kombucha, and that is what helps to ferment the drink underneath, to eat up the sugars and to create the carbonation that is typical of kombucha drinks. And it's great for your health. There's a lot of enzymes and probiotics in there. So in the quest for better health, as always, I'm trying to do it the budget way and make it on my own. So it's been a week, and I don't know if you can see this. I'll try to put some pictures up on the website, but a kind of gooey cellulose layer of film has developed, which is great. So I have at least one going. There's a bunch of bubbles in it, and that's okay. That's from the natural fermentation process creating carbon dioxide gas. So I've got that one, and then this guy doesn't look as healthy, but he's there, he's hanging on. So I'm gonna keep that one going too and see if my next batch doesn't make it stronger. So this batch actually tastes maybe drinkable. I could probably ferment this for another week or two to get the SCOBYs thicker, but I'd rather just get to the point where I can drink it quickly. So I've got my next batch of freshly brewed black tea here ready to go, and some fresh, clean, sterilized jars to start the new rotation. So first I'm going to take the SCOBYs from the jar. I just washed my hands, so make sure your hands are clean. I've got a clean plate here to put them on. Just reach in there and carefully lift it out. Ooh. So I made this kombucha with a starter SCOBY from a green tea blend. So you can see there around the edges there's a little bit of the spirulina that was in the green tea one. So I'm really not sure if that's alive and will keep continuing in future batches, but it actually smells pretty good. It smells like the original bottle of kombucha that I bought, so I'll take that as a good sign. So that's one. And there's two. So these little guys are kind of like rubbery hockey pucks. You can see this one came out of a wide mouth jar, so it's a little thicker. But they're very thin right now. See how thin that little guy is? And this is a bunch of yeast and bacteria. They live together and they create my kombucha. So that's what I'm going to hold on to for my next batch. And I'll take 1 cup of the previous liquid that I have in these jars. So the point of that is to have a starting liquid that is acidic. And so this liquid has already been fermented partially, so you can actually kind of smell the vinegary acetic acid in there, and that helps to keep from your fresh batch getting contaminated with bad bacteria that you don't want in there. So I'm going to take, that does smell good, but a half cup from each jar. There you go. So I've got 1 cup of starter liquid, and I'll pour that right into my fresh tea over here. So there you go. Now I've got my acidified tea ready to go. So now that I've got my tea with my starter culture and my fresh clean jars, I'm going to take my funnel and attempt to fill the jars. First we'll take out the tea bags. Okay. Alright, this is the fun part. By fun I mean dangerous. Yeah. Starting to spill that all over my counter, that's okay. I'll just alternate between jars until they're both equally full. Okay, so I've got my jars full of ready to go kombucha starter tea, and I'll take a SCOBY, very carefully put that guy right on in there. Now, it may sink to the bottom, it may float sideways for a little while, that's okay. I've read that any size SCOBY will ferment any size batch, so don't worry if your jars are a different size than what you started with. It should, eventually the colony will expand to fill whatever container you put them in. So there you have it. I'll put the lid back on that guy and let it sit again in a nice, cool, dark place. And we'll check back in another week or two. So now I have the finished kombucha from the first round, and I can either drink this as is. I did pour myself a little taster glass so I could try it. And it does taste like kombucha. It's a little vinegary, not as sweet as store-bought kinds, but this is just the first batch, so it's not quite ready. Give it a few more weeks, but if you want to take the kombucha and ferment it for a day or two, you can do that. You just need to leave it out in a closed container away from direct sunlight for 1 to 3 days, and it's generally recommended that you use plastic, because when the plastic is solid, that's how you know it's fully carbonated. Because I made these in glass jars, I'm going to use mason jars, and I'll just leave it for 2-3 days and hope for the best. So there you go. There's my carbonated first batch kombucha, and my second batch is safely stored in a nice, dry, dark place. And I will check back with you in a week or two.